Welcome back to the Franciska Show, where we encourage fellow artists and entrepreneurs to collaborate and support each other while sharing their stories. I'm Franciska, a singer, composer, and also your host. And just before we begin the show, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Shop Drop is an iPhone app that lists every sample sale in New York. So if you want to buy designer clothes without breaking the bank, go to your iPhone and download the Shop Drop app today. Today on the show, we have actress, social worker, and founder of Girls Talent Tour, Batya Zachter. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's so exciting to have you. So you basically have a talent show that you take around to different cities, and you give an opportunity. You give the opportunity and platform for Jewish Orthodox girls to showcase their talent.
Yep. That's what I do.
So tell me how you got into that. You grew up in California, and I think you are our first guest on the show from California, if I am correct. So you definitely have some of that Hollywood inspiration going on in you. Okay, so tell us what your upbringing was like, and we'll transition from there into what you do now.
Okay, so I grew up in North Hollywood, Valley Village in California. I'm one of 6 siblings, and my family, like, we always kind of all the girls in my family, at least, always had like a passion for performing arts. My mother grew up, my mother's Bal's Tshuva, so growing up, she was also like, she was in a performing arts public school where she was like in some commercials, and she was in a lot of shows and stuff. So our house was like, that was just something that we all loved. And then I went to, when I was going into 10th, going into 11th grade, I went to Kol Neshama, which is like a performing arts camp, where they have singing, acting, dancing, and they perform, they film, the first year we filmed an episode, and then the next year I went again and we filmed Operation Candlelight, a movie. And that was like an amazing experience for me. And I've also been in like a lot of school shows and a lot of shows in general. I love comedy. I'm very into comedy. So I've always played parts like that in school plays, even in seminary shows. And so I kind of have been involved within like the performing arts growing up a lot.
Cool. Does the name Leah Gottfried ring any bells for you? Was that someone you knew growing up or shared space with?
So when I was in Kol Neshama Operation Candlelight year, she was the assistant director, I think that was her title, with Varap and Garbos. So she basically worked with her and kind of was like the director of when we filmed for those 6 weeks of the summer.
So cool. So since we're talking about girls or women who have been doing this before you, who else would you consider your mentor or role model in the area that you're interested in?
So I definitely say Robin Garbos from Kol Neshama, because I feel like those 2 summers that I was there were like kind of like the best experiences I've ever had. And I've gone to other sleepaway camps and stuff, but that was just a life-changing experience for me. So she definitely showed me that you can still be from and express your talent in so many different ways while still being from and not having to compromise in that way. So she definitely is. Who else would I say? I don't know, just anybody who starts something in general. I think it's an amazing thing. Like, I don't know, even specifically with performing arts, I really, that's why I also wanted to start my own thing. It wasn't like I just wanted to join something that was already established. Like, I realized it was time for me to start my own thing. I really like when people are able to take an idea and kind of just make it into something that they, I don't know, produce something themselves. I like that. So I was in Rachel's Place last year. I also like that a lot. How that was directed and stuff like that. I don't know, mentors. I don't really have enough. I think I need more. Yeah.
Okay, so good question. We're on to something here. And so what's your family's attitude toward your passion for the arts, and what kind of space have they created for you? Because clearly you have this childhood interaction with the arts, and it's not just an adult realized dream, or you're not a Baal Tshuva who has you know, a different attitude toward the arts. So.
Right. So in a way, I feel like my family is very supportive of it and proud of like, well, I mean, my parents sent me to Kol Neshama for 2 years and they knew I loved it. So they like after the first year, they knew I loved it. It's like not a cheap camp. It's more, and it's something that they realized that I have such like a passion for. So they wanted me to be able to get that experience. So they definitely were supportive at that time about it. And now also like when I had this idea, honestly, there wasn't so much support that like I was getting because I get very excited when I have an idea. Like I have a very big imagination, and other people give me all the reasons like why it shouldn't work. And in a way, it makes me want it to work more. So because like, you know, when just people are saying that something can't happen, you're like, excuse me, I think it can. So it just made me work even harder. But so my family has definitely been supportive. My younger sisters are also very into it. So one of them was a contestant. One of them was like kind of like just did like a dance at the beginning of the show, but they both were part of the shows that I did. So it became kind of like a topic of conversation within my house where people were like, were my family, we were all very always talking about it, always into it because it was this new idea. So that kind of was like a little bit of a kind of like it took over, like that's all we talked about. So I guess that kind of annoyed people a little bit, but they were definitely supportive and proud that I was able to, you know, like start this new.
Okay, so clearly you were still living at home when you came up with the idea and you started with it, right?
So I'm from LA and I grew up in LA, but my family in the summer just moved to New York. So my family's living in Staten Island now.
Okay, so you moved to New York, and when and how did this start to evolve?
So this
Tour.
So Girls Talent Tour started. So I had the idea in November. Well, yeah, I guess I officially like had the idea, like I actually want to do this in November. And then the show was in December. So I really only had from the time, maybe it started at the end of October, but like then when I actually started pursuing it was November. And then I literally had 1 month to put on the entire show, maybe 5 weeks. So once I had the idea, I just like ran with it. Cause I'm not the type that I can have an idea and just wait. Like if I have an idea, I have to do it.
Okay, so take us through all the steps that involve from conception to realization. And then, yeah, I have a lot of technical logistical questions that I'm interested in.
Sure. Okay, so first my idea was to put on kind of like a musical. So I decided I want to do The Sound of Music. And so I started taking notes on it, becoming all into it. And then, but I knew that like I would have to get an organization involved so that I could raise money for them. And then also like it would be like supporting their organization. But that was way too much money for any organization to lay out for such a big musical, especially when they have no idea who I am. So then I thought of an idea of doing something like not smaller, just as big, but wouldn't have to do like weekly practices, wouldn't have to hire teachers, wouldn't have to do things like that. So the main cost would be the event itself. And that would be like a great way for an organization to be able to make money. So I'd be supporting an organization while like raising money for them, fundraising, while also being able to like use my idea with no risk involved. So basically I tried approaching different places, but like it was a really long process. Like I really tried and people didn't really know who I was. So it was just kind of a very annoying process for even those couple weeks that I was trying. And then when I had this idea of the talent show, I went back to Hatzalah of Staten Island and I asked them like, would you be willing to do a show like this? And they're like, that we could definitely do. Come over on Motzi Shabbos and we're going to discuss it. So I was like, okay, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. So I just like took my notes. I had already called all the places, like how much a stage would cost, how much lighting and sounds would all cost, so that I could like propose to them, kind of like have like I didn't want to sound like a kid approaching them. I wanted them to look at me like kind of like in a mature, like, okay, she knows what she's doing. We trust that she's going to be able to do this. So that's how it started. I went on Motzei Shabbos. We started talking about everything and they said, let's do this. Okay, let's get started. So then we started making the flyers for auditions. I didn't even know who my judges would be. I thought I would just like take my friends who like know how to sing and stuff. And then I had just like spoken to Shane Dolan Tellis about being involved in the Sound of Music show. And then she was like, oh yeah, I would be a judge for the maybe asked her to be a guest performer for the show, and she's like, oh, I would be a judge. I'm like, that's such a good idea. Like, that's amazing. Yeah, if you're a judge, like that like totally took my show to like a whole new level, and everything just became more and more professional from there. Like, different people reached out to me, can I be a judge too? Devorah Schwartz, Maayan Davis, and then guest performers, Sarah Dukes, and then once I like had them involved, when they posted the flyers for the auditions, I got auditions from everywhere, like different states, different cities, all over. And yeah, and then I chose people. I even had people fly in for this past show. Like, someone was from Baltimore, someone was from Florida. And yeah, and then I just chose the talent, and basically I didn't know what I needed to do, but as the process went on, I realized someone's like, so who's your stage manager? I'm like, stage manager? Okay, I guess I need a stage manager. And I quickly found the stage manager. Like, every step of the way was like, oh, I need that. Okay, I'll get that. So that's how I did it. I just Googled everything, learned about everything on the spot, and yeah.
Wow. So this show was your first show, the one you just did a couple weeks back.
Yeah, it was December 16th. So yeah.
Feels like a few weeks ago. Okay, and you're hosting one more next week, this coming Sunday.
Yeah, so when I was done with this first show, I thought it was just going to be like one event, but it was an incredible event. Like, I'm saying, the feedback from everyone, it was magical. I loved it. It felt like a dream come true for me. So people were saying, like, don't just stop here. People were saying, like, reaching out to me, can you do it in our community? And I was like, okay, maybe I should make this into a tour. So I just decided to do it in Muncie next. Yeah.
Okay. So since you mentioned the tour, now I understand how it's the girls talent tour. Now it makes sense. And and I know you went by Girls Got Talent and you just switched your name. Tell us a little bit about what happened there and why you changed your name so fast.
Okay. So basically, all our flyers went out. Girls Got Talent, second stop, Muncie, New York. And then I got an email in my like Girls Got Talent inbox from like a whole official email with like a PDF attached from a lawyer, signed, saying that Got and Talent, basically America's Got Talent trademarks Got and Talent together. So I have to change the name of my show. And before February 22nd, and my show's on February 24th, this coming Sunday. So I was like, this happened like probably a month back. So everything was already out. Everyone already knew about it. It was advertised. And then they said, you have to change the name and take everything down. And so I was like, okay. So I changed the name. I changed all the flyers. I had to crop every picture on my Instagram, on my Facebook, on everywhere. So it was really crazy. Like, even throughout this process, there were so many things that happened, like, that felt like this show wasn't going to happen. And like, it just ended up working.
Sample. What other glitches did you have?
What other glitches? So one major glitch, I guess, was that okay. So basically the shows that I usually the first show that I produced, I had like certain, I guess I would say, guidelines that I felt like, okay, the people can sing these type of songs, they can dance this type of dance, but that's like, I kind of made those rules and regulations just so that just even what I felt comfortable with, but it was more like kind of I just decided on that. And for this show, we're raising money for a kollel. So I totally understand. And also the Muncie community, a lot of there's so many different types in the Muncie community. So I basically was under the assumption that it was going to be the same type of show. And it wasn't able to be, because the kollel also, like, they had at that point, like, I thought that I was going to approve the acts, but then it had to come, I guess, more from the kollel itself, which kind of where there were a lot of rules then put onto the show, which kind of was not what I exactly wanted. And I'm really happy with how this show is turning out and how it turned out. And I totally understand, because I want everyone to be able to come and feel comfortable. But I think that was something that was a really, really big challenge when I started planning this show, because I really want this show to be a place where people can express themselves, and be from, and realize that you can still be expressive. And kind of finding that balance was so difficult for me, especially when I thought that I would have to change basically so many of the acts and so many of the different songs that were allowed, dances that were allowed. but it really worked out. But that was a huge, huge challenge for me, definitely.
Yeah, I can identify with communal norms being affected on your creative expression and what you could allow there to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I'm someone who's interested in auditioning or participating in your show. What would the steps be?
So, well, usually you would send your video send your video to, and I give my number, you could send it to my WhatsApp or to my email, an audition before a certain date. And yeah, people just take a video audition of what they want to do. They write their name, where they're from, their age, and then basically just send me the video of themselves. And then based on that, I basically get all the auditions, and then I have to choose a small amount. So it doesn't mean that you can't audition for the next show. But yeah, I have to choose like a small
So
amount.
how many applicants did you get for the first 2 shows?
The first show, I don't remember exactly, but the first show I only gave like less than a week for auditions. And honestly, I'm not recalling the number, but I had a lot of auditions to sift through. A lot.
And the Muncie one?
The Muncie one might have been like, I don't know, maybe like 100 or more. I don't know exactly how many.
Okay, so you filter them down, and how many people get to come to the show?
How many people get to be in the show?
Yeah, be in the show.
So well, there's not an amount of people, there's an amount of acts. So every act could have more than one person. But this show, we're having all together 18 or 19 acts, but some of them are guest performers. So yeah, basically there's a certain amount. How many contestants? There's probably like 13 contestants, like groups of contestants, and then the rest are guest performers.
Okay. And it involves acting, which is drama, dance, singing, and instrumentals.
Yeah, comedy also.
Comedy.
Yeah.
Stand up?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have like little kids doing comedy. This show we have gymnasts, we have contemporary dance, lyrical dancing, we have people doing like cool hula hoop, we have what else do we have? We have like, yeah, we have great acts, but mostly singing, acting, dancing, singing, comedy, dancing are like our main. Yeah.
Okay, and what's the age qualification?
So it's all women and girls. Like it doesn't, I'm not super, I mean, I like to have diversity within my show. So like the youngest in my show this time is 5, and the oldest like is a woman. Like so it really all ages. I had auditions from all ages, really.
Okay, nice. So it's open to everyone. And okay, so what's the prize, or how many winners do you have, and what do they get?
So last show what we did was they got gift cards to Junie. It was just like in stand, but I realized this show it's like in a theater for 950 people. It's like kind of a lot. It's in a theater. It's a lot more, I don't know if I would say, I guess it's more professional. I don't know if it's going to be better or the same, but it's definitely more professional. We're having also cash and gift card prizes, which.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's go through the logistical process on your end. You got yourself a sponsor organization that is laying out the money for you, that will also take the money that's earned throughout ticket sales and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And is there anything left for you to pay yourself?
Yeah, I include that. My first show, I was like, I don't care, pay me like, first I wanted a certain amount, but then I was like, you know what, like if I want this to work, then I can't be like that. So I was just like, whatever, I'll just do it. Even though I got paid, but not a lot. And this show, like I went up a little bit what I would charge to do it. But as time goes on, I would probably take some more of the profit. But like my main, I guess the main people that are benefiting from what the money that comes in is the organization that I'm raising money for.
Okay. And do you think you would transition at one point where you'd have enough money potentially to lay down to run the show, and then you'd make the profits for yourself.
Yeah, but I still like the idea of having some sort of, even if it wouldn't be all the proceeds, but I would do like at least some of them, or yeah, a portion of it would go to certain organizations that I would choose, but it wouldn't be that like me and them are both presenting this event. It would be like my event that I'm producing, and then I want to give because like I just think it's a nice cause.
Right. I don't know if I want to be the one mentioning it, but it's definitely a selling factor. It's a way to get the guilt out of people showing up to an event because they feel like they're donating. They're not just doing a selfish act. They're coming out and they're doing something good for someone else as well.
Yeah, like the kollel I'm raising money for right now, they said that you can use your Meiser money for coming to a show. Like, it's so cool. I'm saying you could use your Meiser and you're going to enjoy like an event. So it's just an amazing event. So it's like, why not? You know, that's kind of a.
The only thing that just pings my heart a little bit is that why can't it be justifiable to go and watch girls and women perform and that just be okay in itself? Why do you need something else to give you that extra motivation to come out? But you know what? All the major events out there, the secular ones, they all have causes. Many of them have causes as well. I mean, not America's Got Talent necessarily, but events have causes and they are donating. So I like how you combine all these different elements to make the show successful, and you had to search for the right combination or the right show. You knew you wanted to do something, and you redid your recipe a few times until the cake came out. And
yeah, like this is definitely what I want to do. Like, it's not, I was thinking maybe I would want to do a musical. Maybe I would do that in the future. Why not? I love putting on shows in general now, but I love this. I love the idea of this. I think this is just so exciting. And I really feel like there was nothing like it. I feel like it's just such an exciting, I don't know, experience for everyone there, for everyone on the stage. I don't know, just people that are on the stage say that they never experienced something like this before.
If you have been enjoying this podcast, please make sure to leave us a good review and subscribe. See you next time.